Hey guys, it's good to see you. It's February 11th. I may or may not have just done this paint night fully with some of you guys live a couple hours ago. But unfortunately, it didn't record. Story of my life. And I know that there was a lot of people out there that were anticipating this little cutie to make some little paintings for Valentine's gifts or things like that. So, we're painting for the people, you guys. I can't let the people down. I'm gonna just quickly super fastly. Just do this here on a pre-recording. Like, this isn't live. This is probably one of the first, maybe one of the first paint nights I'll be doing not live. So we'll see how it goes. It may be uncomfortable for all of us, but that just means I'm going to be going at my own pace. It's only going to be on YouTube, so you feel free to pause, rewind, yada, yada, yada. We're just going to get this guy going because I feel like it's a great gift and you guys deserve to do him too, right? Okay. So unfortunately, since I'm recording this on a different program that I've never done it on before, at this moment, I have not figured out how to get the reference photo onto the screen. So you'll know by now if I figured it out afterwards. If not, this picture is on my Instagram, Taytayski. You can find it there if you need for a good reference shot, or just like screenshot right now and zoom into this little baby and have it as a reference shot, because I think it's very important to know what you're painting and have something to look at as you are laying out your shapes. I just couldn't figure it out with this new setup, and I ain't got the time, you guys, right? Okay, so we've got a fresh canvas. We'll see how long this takes me at this rate, okay? Should I look at this one or just the other? I'll just look at that picture. So for the colors we have today, like I said earlier today, you can use whatever color you want. Do you want a pink teddy bear? Do you want a blue one? Brown, yellow, whatever you want. It's basically, you're going to do the exact same thing as me, except for, and like add white. When I add white, it's just going to be your base color is a different color, okay? I am going to make mine this yellowy color like the bear that you can't see right now, sorry. So I'm going to take Naples Yellow Hue is the color that I'll be using. If you don't have it, totally okay. We can use like a yellow. I've burnt umber as a brown. If you don't have brown, we can also use orange with a touch of black, even though that's not the proper way to make brown. You can mix, actually all the primaries together will also make a brown. Red, yellow, and blue if you get them perfect with a little bit of white in there. But I'm going to start with Naples Yellow Hue and Burnt Umber. You can always start, just let me put music on for a second. I forgot another step. Always feel free to start with a pencil if you wish. Some people feel more comfortable with a pencil, but I always start it with a paintbrush. So get out your, where's my hand here, smallest paintbrush you got. A pointed one usually helps to do the drawing portion of the painting. And I am going to go into my brown. And with my paintbrush into my water, as you can see my hand over here, I'm going to scoop water into the brown on my palette. So we make like a chocolate milky consistency where there's way more water than paint. We're just going to roughly be laying out shape. We don't really care about if it goes on thick or anything because it's basically just like a pencil, right? We're just doing the rough outline to lay out where all our shapes will be going, which we will later color in, okay? So we're going to acknowledge the whole canvas and picture where we're going to put this bear and try to kind of get a rough outline before we start. It's always great to imagine where it's going to go to kind of help you lay it out. It's very easy to be intimidated by the canvas and draw it very small or overdraw it big. You don't have room for the whole thing. So I'm going to take my paintbrush with that chocolate milky consistency and I am just going to draw a circle for his head. And see how I'm not worrying about it being perfect. Like I'm always using the outside as my reference point of the shape that I want to get. It's always almost impossible to get the exact shape you need right off the bat. So I always go around a couple times until I get the shape that I want. I made my circle a little more ovally. It's a little wider than probably his head is, but that's cute. Okay? And from there, we're going to start the heart just to lay out where it should be. And if we take a look, like if this is kind of roughly middle of our teddy bear, he's kind of looking a little bit to the side. So see how I angled my brush a little bit there? We're going to make the line down. That's going to be the middle of the heart, just right here. Okay? And from that line, we will start making our heart. For some people, it's harder to do for than others. I don't know the best way to teach it. I feel like the line probably helps the most, so we'll go from there. We're going to overlap. We're going over the circle a little bit because the heart is in front of his face, right? So we want to show it's overlapping that initial circle that we made for his cutie little head. Then we are going to bubble this edge out and start curving down. Almost like a butterfly, right? Again, remember, totally okay if you are having to do a couple lines over. Like these are just the base lines. Yours can even be way lighter than this. You can probably add more water than me. I just like to make it dark so that you guys can see it. But we'll come over here, and usually to make the heart, it would be a perfectly symmetrical on both sides. But its heart is turned a little bit to the side. So instead of us mocking exactly this, we're going to turn it to the side a little bit, okay? And we're going to make it like a cute little butt or something right there. Okay? And from here, we can really map out the shape of our heart. We'll come up from the top of this side and we'll bring it right on over. Okay? And same on this side. We will pop it up. Look, I might make it a little bigger even. Curve it down. And we're going to come almost to match up to the first line we drew, but see how it's a touch higher, like if this is the bottom line. They don't exactly match up because the heart has a cute little like tail. So that's how you'll connect those bottoms. See how we went right underneath that line? Doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. All right, and we can play around with that as much as we need, but that's a pretty basic shape of the heart. Okay? Perfect. Moving on. Moving on to the little feet. And they're so adorable because he's like a cute little shy guy. So we're going to come, if you imagine where the top of his head is. Again, I always use my paintbrush for like a rough layouter or figuring out where things should go. And I have paint on my brush right now. And so I always think it's a great way or an easy way to pinpoint where you want that foot to go by holding it straight along the line. And then now I'm going to touch the canvas with that paintbrush. And now I see where that foot should go. And I am going to just draw an egg, basically. Well, it should be a little more flat on the bottom maybe, but who cares? Okay? See how it's not all the way over here? We're aligning it with his head. Maybe even a little touch out, but that's fine. And then right away we're going to draw another egg for his other little foot. And this one's going to overlap this egg. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Bean science, egg science today. All right. And this is what's so, like, to me, cool about, like, character design and how you pose a character, or how you pose them or how they're standing can really tell or describe what they're feeling or their little personalities. And for this guy, if we drew the line just straight up, like so his foot would be straight or his leg would be straight, it gives a very different feeling than what we see in this picture, where his like feet are kind of like pigeon-toed in and he's kind of like bent to the side, like he's like shy and cutie and vulnerable. So it's very interesting how like a little line, so again, we're not drawing it straight up like this. We're just going to bring it from the side here and just pull it on over. And now he's just, maybe you got, we probably can't see it yet because these are just messy lines, but it's very vital, very important part of this little bear's personality. But okay, there we go. Got that in there. All right, we're still using that chocolate milky consistency of the paint. We're still using our smaller brushes. If you're using a pencil, you're still using a pencil. That's cool. So we're going to come over here. We're going to do these little hands quick. And they're very straightforward as well. Let's just do another kind of egg shape. But see how it mostly overlaps onto the heart, but a little bit comes off. So you can see where the heart line is. A little bit comes off of that heart shape. And up here too, we'll do another one of those little egg shapes, but acknowledge kind of where we're placing it. We want it to overlap the head as well. So not only are we going to overlap it like the heart over here, we're also going to overlap it over the head just a little bit and over the heart. He's coming together already. I kind of painted him a little close to the side, but I kind of did that on the other one too. Hair's crazy. Okay. Now what? Oh yeah, right. I'm going at my own pace, Taylor. Let's do this. Let's add some more ovals up here. Good. And on this side, he's got another ear. Right? Already, I see a teddy bear in there. I think that this ear should be bigger. Bigger ears, nothing wrong with that. I think I made the heart bigger in this one. Okay. He even has cutie little, like, this was my favorite part of the last painting too. So we're coming up the head here and we're just gonna a couple long hairs. Oh, so cute. Remember, when we're doing these outlines, like, nothing is permanent. We can, with white paint, just cover up anything that you feel like you made a mistake. Like maybe you want to make his ears smaller later. I don't know. That is fine. Okay, I think we have the teddy. Oh, I guess while we're here too. There's a cute little tag on this. Maybe should we put the tag down here on this one because of the space? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to put the tag down here. We're going to change it up. So we're just going to make a little curved line. It almost looks like it made the heart like a bomb. Okay, and then, oops, I forgot where to look for a second. We're going to come close to that line that we made, and we're going to make another curve, even more curved. Now it looks like little antennas or something. There's a cockroach on that egg. I called it an egg heart. It's been a long day today, you guys. Woof. Okay. Just close it off, and we've got a tag that we will be adding to later. And so one thing I didn't notice until at the end kind of our paint night this evening is that the style of this drawing, which, oh my gosh, I didn't even mention from the beginning, This bear, which you'll see maybe here or just somewhere else, is not by me. I don't want to take credit for the original bear because this cutie is actually by an artist named Marina Fedotova. I think. I hope I probably butchered that name because I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff. But Marina Fedotova drew this bear originally. So, not to take credit for that, okay? I'll always put her name down in the bio of the artist if we use somebody else's picture. But, okay. So that is basically where we will stop for now. We're going to get white out. Perfect. And this is, again, depending on your paint quality, you might not have to do this part, but I suggest, it doesn't hurt. I'm just going to get a big paintbrush, get my paintbrush wet, and just go right into the white. And just cover up some of these lines now because some people's paint won't be able to cover that in one pass. So adding one layer of this thick white to cover up all this extra work we did down here will really help you out for the next layer to have more coverage. Like, see, like I'm not even, you're still going to be able to see it a little bit even with this white. But that helps once you get the main color down. Like once we get the red on top of that white, it'll be very hard to see those lines. So see where I'm going, like inside of the head, like in all of these overlapping shapes. We're just going to get rid of these extra work lines. Perfect. Down here, this foot is in front of the other foot, so we're just going to whiten that up. Perfect, perfect. And we're going to come up here and cover that. So my brown is mixing into the white, and because the brown's not dry yet, and I don't really, no big deal. Don't really care. Okay. And here. I just realized I started a thought that I didn't finish. I realized kind of close to the end of today's paint night, I guess, that the artist did, it's like such like a beautiful, like I'm assuming it's watercolor, but it's like nice and sketchy, like sketchy in the sense of like drawing sketchy. And it has lots of like expressive lines around like the heart and the bear. And it's literally just like going over top. Like I still have this brown. Maybe there's a little bit more paint than water, but I'm still kind of in that chocolate milky consistency. I'm just going to like roughly, again, totally optional. It depends on what type of a painter you are, if you want to make these messy lines or not. But I just love that it kind of gives it a life a little bit. So we're just kind of doing some like sketchy little, we are going to give him fluffy hair at some point altogether, but at this stage, I've already changed up a couple things of what we did live today, so we'll see what the changes do. We're going to come into that ear, both ears, and basically draw a circle, but not fully. We're just going to brush hair strokes. Sound effects are important. In the shape of a circle in that ear there. See how that's going. Same with at the bottom. I'm still using that chocolate milky consistency paint, and I'm just going to kind of roughly, sketchily trace around his little feet and maybe the heart a little bit more. Okay. I think we're ready for paint. Okay. We are going to start with the heart. So you're going to get your red out. And conveniently, with the heart, if your white isn't dry, it's not the end of the world because that is the area that we're going to mix with white anyway. There shouldn't be much white down here. So we're going to start painting the red there. So ditch that chocolate milky consistency. We're going for mostly paint with a little bit of water on your paintbrush. And we're just going to start. I'm going to show a little bit of my brown. Like, so you can still see some of that brown paint. Sorry, I can't zoom in like I could live. But some of you also might not like that. If you don't like that sketchy look, you can paint fully to the edge. I just like love showing, like I always say, like showing your work. Like don't cover up everything you've done. Seeing the layers is like cool to see the process. I find when you're coloring stuff in, it's like helpful to go around the border as close to the edge, like you, whatever, come up to the edge kind of more gently. You're being a little more careful. As I just painted into his hand there, but that's fine. And you kind of make like a thick border around the edge, right? And now you can have the freedom to just kind of slop some paint around in there because you know you won't go over the edge because you've already built that like thick safety net basically, or like gutters at a bowling alley. And now see when I'm getting closer up here, my white, oh, you guys can't really tell, it's not showing up very well. The white on my paint, on my canvas is mixing in with the heart a little bit, which is great at that spot because we want to show that heart having that like sun reflection on it or that light reflection on it. In this painting, sorry, we'll just get that. You can bubble out the heart. Remember, that outline you made is not like restraining you. Like if you feel like, oh, I want my heart to be a little bit chubby or something, like go outside of the lines. That's totally fine. The borders or the first initial drawing lines are just to help us lay everything out and try to get it as good as we can from the start. And it's just a suggestion. Okay, just looking at the other one. Mine's dripping a little bit, so it looks like my heart's bleeding. Okay, so now that our paint's a little wet still, I still have just red on my brush. I'm going to go right into the white. And maybe give it a couple swipes on my palette first. And we're going to look at how the reflection of the light is the brightest right here on the heart, meaning the sun is coming from here. So we're going to remember throughout the whole piece and every individual shape, like the heart is a shape, this circle is a shape, this is a shape. The left side is going to be the darkest, and the right to middle-ish side is going to be the lightest on every shape. So we're starting that with the heart. It's okay if it's still wet. We kind of want it still wet because that's going to help us kind of blend out this white a little bit. On the heart, you can add a little water to your brush. What are we listening to? We're just blending. Okay. Bring it down to the red. And since this is still wet, the farther away I should go, it should start blending into the red color and making it a little bit of a smoother transition down. Remember, water is your friend, so you can add some water to that brush to make something happen. The light reflects a lot weird on here, but we'll see if we can make this happen. Remember that if there's like a sharp border, maybe like let's just say here, that you don't like, before it dries too much, you want to get to it kind of quicker than later. But you can clean off your brush and get just water on the brush. Oops. And with just water on the brush, you can come up onto that heart and just like buff it out. Do you see how coming across there is kind of making that line not as sharp? And that's by just getting water on your paintbrush, just getting a wet paintbrush and kind of buffing it out. Okay, and see it's very subtle of a change. But we're going to just kind of keep doing layers of that. So like I'm going back in, I'm using a big brush, that same big brush I used to slob that paint on anyway. See how it just kind of gets a little bit pinker because I'm working into wet, but that's fine. Okay, okay. Let's just get this baby going. And again, I hope you guys have the reference photo, or I hope I figure it out. I hope future Tay figures out how to get the reference photo in this little bubble. But always look at your reference photo to see like where I'm getting these lights from or why I'm deciding to put color in certain places. But if we remember that the sun is coming from basically the right and a little bit middle. The sun is right here. This, if my hand were the sun, remember that all the time throughout the piece so that we keep the lighting, the rough lighting, the same. So I'm going back to that same comment. Every shape that you do, acknowledge that the lightest point should be top right side of the shape, and the darkest should always be the left. Okay, heart. We will leave that for now. Remember that if you don't like something, you can easily mix some more red and cover it right back up. Easy peasy. No mistakes here, right? No unfixable mistakes. Okay. Just going to toss a little more red in there just for fun. And if you want to make that wrinkle in his... Wow, it looks so different on the screen than it does in my face here, but that's fine. We're just kind of making the shadow of because he's squeezing that little heart. I'm just gonna wipe it a little. I don't get why. Oh, the light is reflecting major, and the colors look very bright light to me. So I'll wipe that away. Go away. This music makes me feel like I'm in an elevator. All right, we've got the heart going. Something else that we can do while we're here, just when the red's drying, is paint a cutie little heart inside this tag we drew down there. So I'm going to go back to this small brush here. I'm going right in my red. I'm not worried about adding too much water or anything. We're literally just going to draw one blob. It's basically just a line down. Oh, I hope you can zoom into that. And another line down. It doesn't even look like a heart for you guys. I'll show you closer after because that's how we fill the background. But okay, we've got a heart in business, folks. What is going to be next is we're going to start filling in this cutie teddy bear, okay? So you're going to have to get a... Where's a good brush for me? Like a medium-sized brush here. Not a little bit. The one that I was using for the heart was a little bit too big, I think, but you decide, like, use your discretion with what size your canvas is or what you're comfortable with, too. My hair's crazy. Okay, so I'm personally going to go into that Naples yellow that I have, and I'm going to add a touch of brown in there. Because I always like to work dark to light, and this dark brown is how we are going to start setting up those shadows. Can you guys see that? Yeah. I'm adding a little bit of water in there so that it can pull, but not too much water. We want it to go on pretty opaque. And again, we're going to look at that reference photo and we're going to squint at it and we will see where those darks are, okay? And we are just going to start swiping on. I say swiping because it's not just one stroke. Like we're trying to almost start to imply those fuzzy little hairs he's got, okay? Like, can you see how that's like not straight? It's like little strokies, like, okay? And you can even go off his shape a little bit outside of that original egg we drew because he's fuzzy and that's the best way to show it is little fluffy hairs peeking out, okay? And I'm gonna come over under the heart here because it's shadowed under the leg. I'm gonna add some of this dark brown on this back foot. And again, see, like I'm always swiping. Some of it might turn out to look like it was just one full piece, but the swipes will help. What just happened? Oh, that's fair. I thought my computer just died. You probably saw fear in my eyeballs. Gotta remember to move that every once in a while. Okay. And I'm coming across here, adding these little hairs. It can be messy. That's totally okay. We're adding texture in there, and we're going to go back with some different values over top of these spots. Let's even bring it in a little bit more. Same over here. And we're just going around to all those dark spots, okay? Same with this guy. Just some light jazz. Fun for the whole family. Okay, dark little foot there, dark little foot there. Remember, this is more paint than water, but you're still going to want to add little swipes of water in there just to help it pull across. Keep finding the darker spots of our little teddy bear. Keep making those fluffies. Coming over to the side of his face. See how the shaggy little guys come together? Man, I made the heart huge this time. That's cool. Can't go wrong with a big heart on this little guy. Add some to the bottom of his ear. And same over here. Right? And just for fun, we're going to go over it a little bit, but he has these like cute ass bangs. Let's just swipe some little, oh, that's a little lighter anyway. Swipe some little brown swipies. Looks like a mess right now. Sorry if this is your first paint night because I didn't go over all the rules and everything because it's a frazzled day. But trusting the process is like, it should be number one. Your painting's going to look weird as heck until it's done, okay? I promise you. But you have to wait till the end. You can't give up. I don't allow it. And still swipe, swipe, swiping. Okay. Before we start putting on the lighter colors, why did I just... Oh yeah, I just made the heart a little bit bigger, I think. Oh, it's not that much different. Okay. Let's add where that little schnoz is gonna go. Okay. He's not fully straight. I guess like looking at this the little butt of the heart that we made earlier. Let's just draw another egg. That'll do, donkey. Just like that. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna call that. Okay. And from there, you can either, if you have any of that color left, cool, grab it. If you're using the same colors as me, grab more Naples yellow. If you're not, grab more of whatever you were putting in for yellow. If you're using just actual yellow and brown. And start adding white. You still want a touch of brown in there because you want it to almost be this color, but just a value above. So we're adding some white in there. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. A little bit of water to help pull it around if your paint's getting sticky. And now we're going to really do like the same thing. It's not going to be that much different, but now we're just going a little bit above our dark that we've already done, and we're going to swipe over a little bit, right? Again, like show your work underneath. Don't cover everything up. See how I'm going in these empty spots and bringing those colors through, like over top, like this. That's probably a terrible way of showing. I'm just like slobbing it for real, but... Oh, I knew this was going to happen. Paint on the mic. Didn't know when. It's fine. Okay. So we are going into those spots and we are doing the same thing, but just adding a little bit of brighter value of the color that we've been using. And this is going to help our little teddy bear have some dimension and some depth. And to make him fuzzy, remember, always go over top your lines. It's okay if you leave a little bit of white. We are going to go over it again, but cool. Now we're going on to this little guy. Same thing, go in those empty spots. And if you want a smaller brush to make some of those fuzzy hairs, that's totally fine too. Perfect. And remember, fuzzy line. Oh, that was a thick one. We'll deal with that later. Okay. Cutie, yep. Still using that lighter version of whatever we were using before. Might add a little more brown there still. We're doing the same thing, folks. You guessed it. Coming to the face and doing the same. I'm kind of being conscious of my brush strokes. Like I'm kind of following the shape, the initial circle shape. So see how I went from here. I'm going flailing those that way, coming up, and I'm still flailing it, following that main circle shape. Showing our work. Still. Popping up the top of the ear. Perfect. Running some little swipies through that cutie little bangs, yes. And get that going. See how our little bears come into life already. Realistically, we can fill him in with almost this whole color. I can go back in there too. Let's fill that little face in. Following the bang line, and when I'm on the outside, following that directional. Perfect. And same thing in that little schnoz. Let's just give it a little swipe of color in there. We're going to add more white. We're going to add a nose and stuff. That's fine. But for now, we're just slobbing in some color to fill in everything. Okay? How is that? Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Now, you guessed it. We're going to take that color that we were just using, and then we're going to add a bunch of white to it. We want it to be very light. We're going to acknowledge that the paint on our easel palette, will dry darker on the canvas than it looks right now wet on our palette. That's just acrylic life. Okay? This paintbrush is a little too big. No, we'll stick with that for now. No, we won't. I'm going to go to a little bit of a thinner brush at the moment. Okay, just a little guy. I'm going to go into that whiter concoction that we just made, right? And we're going to do the same thing. But again, we're going to show our work down there. So we're just going to come in the top spot where we want that sun reflection to go, right? And we are going to swipe. Can you guys even really see that? Maybe I'll make mine like obnoxiously white so you can see. We are going to swap some of this very light color at the top, maybe a couple strands throughout, that's fine. Let's go over here. Can you guys even see? Kind of. Bring it closer in a second. Again, kind of trying to follow the shapes of the body parts that you're drawing. That just sounded wrong, coming out saying body parts about the teddy bear, but it's not wrong. Right, you can flail out some of those little hairs. This one's a lot fuzzier than the last. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay. And now we're literally doing that to every limb he has. We're getting that white, yellow again. Coming to his foot, same thing. Let's just do some strokey strokies. To fill in that spot. And right here on this big toe of his, make sure we get some little hairs. Of the light color. Again, acknowledge that if we think this foot is the shape where we're trying to figure out where the sun should go, right? If the light is on this heart, then the lightest part is right here in this little foot. Same with right there. Okay. Same up here with this lighter color. We are going to brush on. If we squint at that reference photo, we can see where the lighter spots are, and we're going to use that to our advantage. If you don't have the picture, just see where I'm doing them. Top part of that ear. Right. How's that? We're still using that little brush. We're still using more paint than water on our paint brushes. But we're doing those long swipies to show hair fluff. Right, there we go. Keeping those little small parts in his ears dark. And we can put some little swappies through those beautiful bangs of his. Right? Did I do that? Yeah. Those bangs will figure themselves out. Don't worry, you guys. And let's go to his little... It's basically a halo around his head is the lighter part of him. Do, do, do. Okay. And we're bringing that lighter spot through those top hairs a little bit. And remember, again, if you're not liking certain lines or if you want to smooth something out, you can always get a wet brush and kind of buff that baby out of there if you want. Coming over here. Depending on what type of painter you are, if you're a little more experienced, you can experiment by like going in with just, again, a little more white in some certain spots. Maybe you want to add some pure white up on this area. And then now go down and put some just yellow on there and kind of see what happens when you, with every little brush stroke that you do. But I'll bring this closer in 1 second. See those strokes? How they're following the shape of the bear with the circle in the background. I keep forgetting to move the mouse. I'll have to change that. See, I just added a little bit of yellow into there to blend that back together. But still just doing brushstroke for brushstrokey to keep that fluffy teddy bear look we want. Okay? Again, if you think there's a little bit too harsh of a line, you can add a little bit more of whatever yellow or whatever color you're using into that white so it gets a little bit darker. And keep on keeping on. Okay. How is that for a teddy? Good, he's fluffy, he's fluffy. And with a little bit of a bigger brush, I'm going to go in and just white out also that little top of his nose. So we're in there, we're going to go right up. Beep. Just to fill in that top part. Even put some like more pure white at the top if you want. We are going to go in with pure white at the end. You guys know, white highlight always finishes it up strong. And remember, like, so look, there's a very sharp line there. That's fine. With your brush clean and just water on it. See, I'm wiping it off. Remember, you can go in there and you can kind of buff it out a little bit. Just buff it out. Okay, how's that for some fluff? Again, if you think that things are worn out, is that the better word? If you feel like they look dull, that might just mean maybe there's a little too much white in your color. So again, bring the original color that you were using. Again, in our case, if you're following me with the Naples hue. And you can go back in and add a little bit more of that yellowy color again if you want. If you feel like it's a little dull, you can pull some through his little bangs. I don't know why I'm obsessed with the bangs. Yep, there we go. It's funny, I keep looking down at the other one that we did today, but no, don't worry about it, Taylor. He's new. This is a new guy. Okay. He's his own person. He doesn't need to be compared to the other one. Alright, so while we let that dry and I have a glass of water, we are going to get back into our brown. Some people might want to do this in black. That's totally okay. I thought the brown's kind of nice. It's a little bit softer than the stark black would be. I am going to get a small brush, maybe something like this. And before I go through those, what we're about to do with a little bit of an outline, it's a little bit different than usual, is show you the pressure test quick before I forget. And it's very helpful, I feel like, if you don't know. So, for example, this Post-it is our canvas. If you want to do a very thin line, you're literally just going to use just the tip of the brush. Like, so see where I'm holding, you can see sideways, like literally only the tip of that paintbrush is on there. And when you pull it across, it's a nice thin line, right? Thin-ish, whatever. But if I put the whole paintbrush down, so like see, it's flat onto the whole thing, and I pull that across, see how much thicker that line is on the bottom. And that's because of pressure. So when you're doing your outlines, try to hold very lightly. Don't push super hard, very thin. You can use your wrist to hold or steady your hand in place. Just make sure that where you're putting your wrist is not wet paint. Sorry, I was about to look at that camera for some reason. Not wet paint. Okay? So when we're doing these outlines, we want it to go on pretty opaque. We want more paint than water, but we for sure need water on our brush to be able to pull it across. We're just not chocolate milk at all. More like melted chocolate, maybe, instead for a visual point. So we are going to kind of go through things that we already did before. It might feel redundant, but layers are good, okay? And we are going to start by, let's start with this foot down here. The nice thing about when you're doing fluffy animals is the outline is not going to be just a straight line. Like we're literally just going to do these little, we're basically doing exactly what we were doing to make the fluff, but with the dark color. So I'll bring it again. I'll bring it closer in a second. So see how it's not a solid stroke. It's not like we're just going like this across the page. Like we are literally painting little strokes of hair with this dark brown. It should be the darkest because when we were using the brown at the bottom, that brown had lots of water in it, so it should have dried very light. But when it is the pigment fully and there's not as much water, it should dry super dark in comparison and give us a nice outline. Okay, let's just go there. So see close up, like it's not a straight line. It's just lines like we were doing with the fur, okay? Same here. We'll come on down. And pull that across. The bottom can be a little flaxer, but still as we're going through, fluff, fluff, fluffs. Fluff, fluff, fluff. Draw a little line. Cool, cool, cool. We're going to be outlining that heart again. You can just pull it across. Whoop. Remember, it's that sketchy, like, if you're doing it in the sketchy style, it's totally okay if you kind of go crazy out of the lines like that if you want. Or if you didn't like that, if you catch it quick, get water on your rag and you can just kind of wipe that baby off almost. Most of the time. Just not right now. A little bit. Perfect. We'll skip that spot for a second. Okay, let's bring around this heart. Oops. Okay. Perfect. Same here. Let's go into all those little paws. And we're not doing a sharp outline. We're doing a little furry paw outline. And they're cuter. More cute. Whatever's grammatically correct. Okay. Okay. Fuzz. Just entertaining myself over here this time. Silence just kills me. I need my peanut gallery, you guys. Okay. But I guess, hey, this is probably like a date night thing. I hope people are doing it as a date night thing for Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day if it is. You can put your name in the heart, like that could be cute. Okay, anyway, moving along here. It's just, or not, just ignore me. You could be like, I'm single, shut up, Taylor. That's fine, too. Okay, let's add some little fluffies. Oh, that's a little weird of a line. Let's just add that in there. Okay. Still not doing a solid outline, doing little fluff lines. Is that annoyingly redundant? Am I just saying that over and over again? In this little circle we made, we're going to do some more. Whoop. But just in the bottom corner of the circle. Same over here. Just going to carve at that top and just fill in a little bit. Always be conscious of my show your work, whatever, memo, I don't know, saying, whatever you want to say. And don't cover up too much of stuff or layers you've already done before. Like, you always kind of want to see what's underneath. So, like, on this one, like, you can see, like, the yellow to the brown to the dark brown. That, oh, you couldn't even see that. You can see the light. You can see the yellow that we originally put. You can see the light brown and yellow. You can see the dark brown. You can see the whole thing across. And I think that's important. And fluff, 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 fluff. And those fluffs got out of control on me a little bit. Oh well. Paint with your pinky up. I feel like it helps. I do it unconsciously, but I keep seeing it on paint nights now that I like can see myself paint. How's that for a cute little tuft of hair? Cute. Okay. Now the face should be dry after doing all that jazz, right? So let's get that cute little schnoz in there. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. We've got a nose. It's like an egg. Remember, still use the same process. It's okay if you have to redraw it a couple times. Even for some people, like, it actually might help for you to, like, start in the middle really small and then keep going out, keep going out, keep going out until you get the size you want. Because it's easier to make it bigger than it is to make it smaller. It's not impossible to make it smaller. It's just harder to make it smaller again. Now go into that brown and just, like, fill it out. Oops, with a bigger brush, you can just fill that puppy right in. Okay? And it's important that we get in there right away because it's wet, right? The paint is wet right now. Might even make it a little bit bigger on an angle. Let's put it on more of an angle than I did because he's turning a little sideways. So see, now I made it more like this than like this. Okay. Just made it flat again, whatever. That's fine. Just stressing. And for his cutie little eyeballs, we kind of nicely already made kind of a map point for it with this arch of his nose, where we have that whiter line. So we're just going to take same black, still using that small little brush. We're going to come on down here, and we're going to draw a taller oval, okay? Just an adorable little button nose. It's an eye, button eye. And to this side, we've got another eye. Okay. Should we do it a little bigger, or I don't know. Okay, cool. We've got two eyes. And he also has the funniest little eyebrows. One's up here. Neat. And one's down here. Yeah. Oh. So cute. And then guess what? Let's make some of those bangs. Oh my god, bangs. Whoop. That was actually from, oh my god, shoes. I don't know why it associated as bangs for me. Swap in some little hairs, because they're so adorable. Okay. Perfect, right? And his eyes, if you want to get technical, or not technical, like exactly like in the beautiful painting that we've got here. I'll try to bring it closer. So we're going to try to make like a teardrop almost. So we have our oval, and just out the top of it, let's see if I ruin it from doing it at this angle. There we go. Right out the top. See how we've got like, it's like a little teardrop now. And on this side, we're going to do almost the opposite. It's just going to go. So we've got one that goes up and one that goes down. Almost like this eyebrow. See how his eyebrow's curved down and this one's curved up? Oh my gosh, you guys, why did the eyebrows just make him the cutest little thing I ever did see? All right, so while that brown dries quick, we're just gonna get out a, whatever, a smaller but a little bit thicker than what we were just using paintbrush. And we're going to go into that brown we have, and we are going to make it a little bit more watered down. Maybe not as chocolate milky, maybe a little bit thicker than that, but we do want water in there. We want it a little bit translucent. Because we're going to start painting in some little light shadows, okay? So let's start right underneath that nose of his. Right? And I'm going to lightly just kind of buff in this watery paint concoction that we just made. Right? And for me, I'm squinting at the picture to see where it goes, but if you're not doing that, just follow along where I'm going if you can't see the picture. And another important shadow part, we're going onto his little heart here. We've got to show that his hands are hugging it, right? So we're bringing this brown, watered down concoction and just kind of going right under that paw and kind of pulling it down a little bit. It's okay if it looks like a little like dirty. Is dirty the right word? Maybe not. I don't know what I'm trying to say there because it looks a little like, not sandpapery, but we want to look like a shadow, so it's okay if it's a little speckled. It's okay if it's showing the grain of the canvas a little bit. Here too, we are just going to pull a couple little lines down because it looks like he's like hugging, right? The heart is like squishy almost. He's hugging it a little. So see how there's just two lines there and there's those two red ones we made earlier just to kind of make it look a little bit more plushy. Same with down, oops, I just covered up his little thing. But same with underneath the heart. Let's add some value there. Remember, you can always dip your paintbrush back into water and come right back onto the canvas if you want to pull that paint around a little bit more. Okay, see how those shadows are just kind of bumping up some of those shapes for us. Throat hurts from not used to talking for another hour after paint night. Okay, so we're going with some more fluffies. Same with on here. Why don't we just add a couple little more textures? Like realistically, this is something that you can touch on. As you can make as many textures and as many values as you want. Work on it as long as you want. I still feel like I just want to make this sketchier around this heart for some reason. Just like this. Just because I love a good sketchy feel. It just feels too clean to me for some reason. Okay, and then same as on this little tag we have down here with this watered down brown, just at the edge here, we're just going to make a little shadow. Like, see how already just doing like that tiny little swipe of brown just made it pop out already. Okay, so before we go in with the white and then finish up the background, we're just going to fill in the bottom. Just give him a little shadow to show that he's standing on something. I'm just going to take a medium-sized brush, go into our brown, and we're going to get it all watered out. So probably can use exactly what you were already using before. I'm going to come across and just pull that paint underneath his feet. And it should be dripping. It's weird that it's not already. Gotta add a little more. Alright. I'm just adding a little more paint and I'm letting a little more water and that should make it drip. There we go. See, we can add some more water to that paint, make it drip. Perfect, perfect. If you want to make it splatter a little bit, you don't want it to be that watered down. You might want to make it have a little bit more hold, so add a little more pigment in there. You can give your brush a couple tappies. And you literally, I always say, a hangs loose. I just lisped. A hangs loose away from your canvas. And you literally just flick the paintbrush. Wow, I'm not controlling these well today. I highly suggest to put down some protection, I like to say. Newspaper, paper towel, some plastic, something. It can get messy. I forgot to tell people that when I first started teaching you guys to splatter and messes were made. That's just a nice little texture in there. It has little taps. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. You want it to be the darkest right under their feet, like a shadow. You can cover up that red drip if you want to. Okay. And now for the final touches, we're gonna need white, pure white. So I'm going in there. I don't want much water on my brush because I want that white to be nice and thick. And let's just start by putting one little boop light spot right in that eyeball. I'm going to bring it closer because you guys can't even see it. But it makes such a difference. Like, why? Why does a little sparkle in the eye just make him a whole new human? It's not a human, a bear, whatever. Same thing, make a little spot in his other eye, and then let's get to that nose. And we're going to make that light spot in the middle. Remember, top right spot shape, because that's where we decided the light's going to go. And we're going to just draw a nice little circle. And if you want to buff it out, remember, you just got to get your paintbrush wet. And you come up to the edge of that line and keep using your towel close to wipe off that excess as you go. But remember, if you're like, darn, I messed up, it's really hard to do that because we can just take our brown right back out and cover up that white and start over again if you really want to, okay? Perfect. Little white spot. And buff, buff, buff. Buff it out. Okay, perfect. And with pure white as well, you can always add some other little highlights in his ears and stuff if you want. Remember how I was saying it's completely up to you how much detail you want to add and how many layers of value and color. I'm just going to add a couple little swappies. I don't know why I started saying that recently. I can't get it out of my head. Swappies. Same down here on his foot. Again, we're remembering where the sun is, so we're just going to slob on some white in the top right corner of his foot. This one's kind of behind the heart, but we can add a little bit of white there. We can also add some more white, just like a little streaky more up on here on his nose if you want. You can add some white in his bangs. Maybe some little swipes in there. Okay. And here as well. Remember, make sure you're always like experimenting with like adding more water, or seeing what happens if you don't add water, or playing around with all the different techniques, because it's easy for me to tell you what to do, but it's very hard to like really get it until you physically try for yourself. Okay. And I guess I wasn't following my own rule. If we think about it, really up here should be the lightest part of his head, because it's the top right spot. So let's put some more white fluffy up here. Remember, if anybody is not liking, maybe they made a fluffy hair go too far out or something, or they don't like some parts are on the outside. White is your friend and your literal white out, I like to call it. You have a clean brush, not much water on it. You might need a little bit to pull it around, but don't get any of that yellow on my white. Like, let's just say I don't like this line. It's too thick. I'm going to go over top of it with white and see how it literally just thinned it out. If you think of whiteout that you use for words, think of it exactly. You're literally whiting out the pieces that you don't like anymore. Okay? Where else? Maybe a couple of the tufts in there I don't want. I don't know. But you can go around and fix things. What else? Am I happy with everything else? You can even like make a little white line throughout if you kind of want to have a little textured cool spot in there. Whatever, you guys. The world's your oyster. Maybe I'll do that. Just a little white little streaky line through there. Same this little face. Right? I don't know. Since there's no one to ask questions, do I remember what other people's questions were earlier today? No. Brain dead. Another thing that you can do, like let's say you think these lines are too thick too, like from the inside with some white. Oh, I just got my profile there. You can really thin out those lines if you wish. Okay, and because I'm just seeing it happen on mine right now, let's say right here we kind of have a sharp white to yellow mark there. So let's grab some yellow, grab a touch of white in there, maybe more white than you think. And I'm just going to kind of try to buff it out together by adding a little bit more of the yellow into there. Right? Already that looks a little bit better. You can pick on anything in a painting. Painting is never garbage. You can fix it at any time. Okay, I think that is kind of set for the bear himself. Pretty cute, if you ask me. Now on the other one, I finished... Oh, no, I lied to you. If you want to make it, like, on this one, if you can see, like, the white is a lot more white on the... What is this? It's a heart. So what is the difference? Should I see them side by side? This guy's eyes are just a little bit bigger, but that's cute. If you want that white to be more prominent in your heart, you'd get a bigger brush. Get into that pure white with water on it. And let's start by just slobbing on that white there. Again, you're being kind of conscious of the heart. You're kind of going to be following its circular shape. And now you wipe that baby off on your little rag, and with that brush, with a little bit of a wet brush, you just buff out that line. And if this is a scary process for you, guess what? It's okay, because if it dries, you can literally just paint it red again and start that part over. Not the whole painting, just the heart. Right? So I'm going in, just buffing. See how those sharp lines kind of disappear? Oh my gosh, this computer's gotta... I'm excited to see the video and see my life flash before my eyes every time that the screen goes black, because I think my computer's just decided to kaput. Okay. I'm just adding some more texture onto that heart. And I think... Oops. I'm going to add a little bit of red and white together just to fix some of my mistakes. See, just add a little more red and we're just blending this baby in a little bit. Okay, cool, that's cool. Okay, let's get that in there. Perfect. And remember we had these two little red spots there, just to show like he's hugging that little heart. Alrighty then. How is that? Cool. Okay, let's do those little hearts in the background. You're just gonna get a little small brush. That one. Yeah, that's the one. You're gonna go right into your red. It's okay if there's not much water on your brush. These hearts are quite simple. Like, I am just going to... How big did I make them? Remember our pressure test that we talked about? So you're going to start by pushing kind of hard, and as you swipe down, pull up a little bit. So you kind of make like a little teardrop, and then you're going to come right to the side. Boop. Let's see. That's hard for me to do from an angle, but let's see if I can. Let's try. Right here. So I'm going to have to go backwards, though, that I just told you. So I'm going to start light on my brush. And as I pull up, I'm going to press hard. Boop. To make a little teardrop. And then I'm going to start on the bottom over here and same, go light, and then I'm going to press hard. Boop. That's a heart. Truthfully, I think starting from the top, pushing hard and pulling up is a little bit easier, but I couldn't from that angle. But remember, these hearts don't have to be, like, I'm going to do some different sized ones, like, oh, just little babes. These hearts don't have to be perfect. They're totally just filler backgrounds. People are going to know their hearts. You don't have to stress about them being perfect. I just thought it was kind of like a cutie way to fill in the background. One girl that was painting a teddy tonight did red splatter over the back, and she said it made her bear look like a murder. A killer bear. Which could be cute. But just so you know that that could happen. It did look a little dextery, just a little, but nothing wrong with that. How is that? Let's do another one. That one's pretty ugly, but... Okay, that's pretty cute. I always have to look at the computer screen because I'm looking at this at such a hard angle that it's hard for me to see if the background is balanced or not. How's that? One thing I'm just going to do, just because the difference I saw on that one to ours is his eyes are just a little bit bigger, and I think it's cute. So I'm just going to make those eyes a touch bigger, and then we're done, you guys. I guess I gotta figure out a thumbnail of some sort, but without you, is it even fun? Okay. Let's just make this eye just a little bit bigger, because I think bigger's cuter. How's that? Oops. I just will have to repaint that little dot in his eye. But I think that's pretty cute. Oops. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Let's get that spot in there. And what we did it in an hour. So without people, we cut it in half. The time in half. That's cool. Get that little foot out. Okay. Oh, this one's cute too. I don't know why I had to sing it, but he is. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Let's put that white dot and I think we're happy. White dot. Boop. White dot. Boop. And remember, I guess I probably should have said that when we were doing it at the time, but that little dot in his eye is the same, follows the same rules as the other shapes, right? Where was the lightest spot? It was in the top right corner, in these circles, top right corner, top right corner. Okay, I think we are happy with the teddy bear. Let me see if I can just do this. Oh, not that. This. Cool. Get that out of the way. Which teddy bear? Should I hold them both? And be like this? Why did that just make it so dark? I'll just hold one then. That was weird that the light just changed drastically. Which side should I hold on? This side. Why am I so dark? Light me up. And we'll put him here. That's cutie, right? It's so funny that I'm just by myself. I can actually probably take this photo later. Who am I kidding? Okay, you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that the QuickTime version, or whatever you want to call it, was okay to follow along. It's odd for me to not have people here in the, oops, in the peanut gallery the whole time, but I really wanted you guys to do this one. I was excited about it. I know a lot of people were excited about it too, so I'm pumped that we were still able to do it somehow at least. Know that this Sunday, Valentine's Day, Mustard Tiger, the Justin, and Taytayski, we're playing games here on the Taytayski channel, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Come join us. Come play some games. Hang out with us, because we need some friends, I guess. So, thanks for coming, and I hope to see you next time, and what do I always say? Catch you on the flip side, I guess? Okay, bye guys!